The host snatched the microphone from my hands and announced I was disqualified before I even sang a note. The crowd's chatter died, replaced by a low murmur that felt like a collective intake of breath. I stared at the shiny plastic mic lying on the stage, my heart hammering against my ribs as if it wanted to break free. Just minutes earlier I had been backstage, running through the lyrics of the song I'd written for the town's annual youth showcase. My palms slick with sweat and my throat tight from nerves. I had spent weeks rehearsing in my bedroom, turning the old garage into a makeshift studio, convinced that this was my chance to be heard. When the host, Mr. Delgado, the longtime organizer who always wore a faded baseball cap, stepped forward, his smile was tight. "Sorry kid," he said, voice amplified through the speakers, "but we've got a rule. Only acts that have submitted their paperwork by Friday can perform. You missed the deadline." I felt the blood drain from my face. I had turned in my form on Thursday, slipped it into the box labeled entries after school, and even gotten a receipt from the volunteer at the front desk. I glanced toward the table where the stack of papers sat, and there, half buried under a flyer for the bake sale, was my own sheet, creased but unmistakably mine. A ripple of laughter went through the audience, and I saw a few kids exchange glances, their expressions shifting from curiosity to pity. My cheeks burned. I wanted to shout to point out the mistake, but the words caught in my throat. Instead I stepped back, letting the mic clatter to the floor, and walked off the stage, the wooden boards creaking beneath my sneakers like a warning. Backstage I found my friend Lena leaning against the curtain, her eyes wide. "What just happened?" she whispered. I shoved the crumpled receipt into her hand. "I turned this in. I have proof." She frowned, scanning the paper. "This looks legit. Someone must have moved it." I felt a surge of anger, not just at the oversight but at the way the mistake had turned me into a spectacle. The humiliation was fresh, but beneath it lay a stubborn refusal to let the moment define me. I decided to confront Mr. Delgado. I found him near the sound booth, adjusting cables with a practiced hand. "Mr. Delgado," I said, keeping my voice steady despite the tremor underneath, "I submitted my entry on Thursday. Here's the receipt." He glanced at the paper, then at me, his expression unreadable for a heartbeat before he sighed. "Look, I'm sorry kid. The box got knocked over during the setup. A lot of papers got mixed up. We can't just rewrite the schedule now. The show's already running." His apology felt thin like a band-aid on a deep cut. Disappointment threatened to overwhelm me, but then Lena appeared, tugging my sleeve. "Let's not let this be the end," she said. "We have the community hall after the show. You can sing there just for us. If anyone wants to listen, they can." Her earnestness sparked something in me, a reminder that the stage wasn't the only place my voice mattered. We moved to the empty hall, its lights dimmed except for a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. I set up my small amp, plugged in my guitar and took a deep breath. The first chord rang out, clear and true, filling the room with a resonance that seemed to push the earlier sting aside. I sang the song I'd written, a piece about finding courage in the quiet moments, about being heard even when no one is clapping. As I sang, a few people drifted in, a parent folding chairs, a teenager scrolling on her phone, an elderly man who nodded along to the beat. By the final note, a small applause rose, genuine and warm. Afterward, Mr. Delgado approached again, this time with a sheepish grin. "I heard you out there," he said. "You've got talent. Let's make sure the paperwork doesn't get lost next year." He handed me a fresh copy of the entry form, stamped with the current date. I accepted it, feeling the weight of the paper shift from a symbol of failure to a token of resolve. Walking home, under a sky streaked with twilight, I realized the day had taught me two things. First, mistakes happen, systems falter, papers get misplaced, but they don't erase the value of what you bring. Second, when a door slams shut, you can either wait for someone to open it again, or find another window to let your voice through. I chose the latter, and in doing so, I learned that the loudest applause often comes not from a crowd, but from the quiet certainty that you refuse to be silenced.